Welcome, welcome, welcome to English 4950, the Senior Seminar. I'm Neil Haldane, and I will be your pilot for the next 16 weeks in the class. So we're going to start off by going all Forrest Gump on you, and we're going to start at the end. So by the end of the semester, this is what you should have completed. Of course, your name is not Rachel Rasmussen, but you will put your name on there, and you will create an online portfolio that showcases the work you've done here at Madonna University and in this English 4950 class. So this is the home page of the portfolio, and this is where you explain what this all is. If someone stumbles upon this on the internet and want to know what's going on, this is where it explains what's happening. Then notice on the left-hand side you have 5 exhibits that you're going to create and work on throughout this semester. You'll also be doing a postscript at the end. So let's take a look at these exhibits individually. Exhibit 1, be doing in the middle of the semester. This is a resume and cover letter. So your job in this one is to find a position that you would really like to work at after you graduate, get the job description, and then tailor your resume and cover letter to obtain that position. You will then take that resume and cover letter out in the field and meet with someone who has the ability to hire for something similar to that. If you're going to grad school, maybe you can meet with an admissions counselor at a university that offers a master's degree in an area that you wish to explore. You'll notice here the exhibit and how it looks like. Every exhibit that you're going to create will have an objective, and we'll talk more about the objectives later on and also next week. Second, you're going to have a description. You're going to describe what you did, where you did it, why you did it. She has attached her cover letter and resume as attachments to this website. You will be able to cut and paste those as well. Then you will have a reflective analysis where you explain to me the significance of it, what you learned from the assignment, what changes you would make if you had to make changes again, and where this will take you as you move further on in your education or in your career. I'm calling these sandwiches because they look like a sandwich. So a description is the sort of top piece of bread, the reflection is the bottom piece of bread, and the actual exhibit itself is the meat or peanut butter and jelly or whatever sort of fixings you want to put between 2 slices of bread. So you're going to create 5 sandwiches during the semester. Exhibits 2 and 3 are specific to your major. So in next week's lesson, you'll have a look at those. You can also take a sneak peek in this week's folder to learn what the specific objectives are for your major. So in this case, it's to develop the ability to express ideas aesthetically in a creative form of discourse, to make meaningful connections between the ideas and experiences depicted in literary texts and knowledge of the world outside those texts. So exhibits 2 and 3 are papers or projects or presentations or something you've done in another class. So you're not going to rewrite these or anything, but you're going to describe what class you did them in, who you did them for, and what was the purpose of the assignment. And you're going to reflect on what you learned from doing this, what the process was, and what you take from it as you move forward. So Exhibit 2 and 3 will be different depending on all of you, depending on your major. And we'll get more into that as we move throughout the semester. Exhibit 4 is a thing you're going to be creating for this class in particular. This is a critique of a liberal arts article. Our theme for this whole sort of session is liberal arts. And since you've taken most of your credits outside of your major, you're going to be dealing with the liberal arts throughout this semester. So this one's where we're going to find an article about the liberal arts, and you're going to critique it. Exhibit 5 is a sort of standard research paper, and we want you to sort of look at information literacy, reading, writing, listening, speaking, and research by completing a paper that contains a thesis, MLA style, and all the sort of traditional things that go into a research paper. This will be about a topic of your own choosing, and this will be the sort of final piece of the portfolio. You'll then end the portfolio process by creating a postscript. This is sort of your reflection on the whole portfolio process. Was it worthwhile? Was it not worthwhile? What did you learn? Would you ever use something like this again in the future? So this is where you're going to end up in early May, doing the portfolio and working on all that. If you have questions, you're going to be able to post questions on the discussion board, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So now let's go back to the beginning and the more traditional kind of start. Let's look over the syllabus and what's going to be expected of you. The syllabus is contained under the syllabus link in Blackboard, and you can read all these things at your convenience. We have one book, Fareed Zakaria, In Defense of a Liberal Education. You'll be reading that. It's a pretty easy read, and it sort of explains liberal education's the history and its implications in a fairly short hardcover or paperback book that you can be buying pretty inexpensively online. The grading system, there's 100 points possible for this class, and here's the breakdown of that. You're going to have major specific exhibits, Whoa, that was kind of funky. So two of those. So those are exhibits 2 and 3 where you're going to have 5 points each. That's where you take a paper that you've already done and then reflect on it. Cover letter and resume, shared with a professional, that's worth 10 points. Liberal arts critique is worth 10 points. The research paper is worth 10 points. So you can turn these in throughout the semester. You'll earn those points as you turn them in. And then when you complete the portfolio, you'll have a chance to revise and improve those for the final portfolio, which is worth 40 points or 40% of the grade. There's going to be an online presentation. That'll be the last assignment for the class. You'll throw up a little YouTube video, sort of like what I'm doing right now. You can take us through your portfolio, take us through your research paper, discuss what you learned in your interview when you took your resume and cover letter outside to a professional. It's up to you how you want to do that. That's going to be like a 3 to 5 minute real brief presentation that you'll throw up on YouTube. There are discussion board responses that you'll need to do. There are 10 of them. They're worth 1 point each. And then there's discussion board for In Defense of a Liberal Education, the book we're talking about. And there are 2 of those, 2.5 points each, total out of 100. Grading scale is pretty standard. Portfolio will be assessed using this rubric right here. So either you meet expectation or you need improvement. And that's how that will be graded. You're all aware of the student evaluation of faculty instruction. And we've already sort of talked about those things. The schedule is on there. The schedule should correspond to all the folders and the announcements that will be presented throughout the semester. And you'll see the due dates and all those kind of things that will be mentioned in the syllabus and also in the assignments folder. Again, if you have questions, there is a discussion board placed for those. So please don't just email me with a question because someone else may have that exact same question. And that way I don't have to answer it 3 or 4 times. I can answer it once and everyone gets to share in that knowledge. So here's the Blackboard site for it. You've seen this before. You've already played around in Blackboard enough. So here's English Week 1, 4950, the class. There's an article you need to read, the example of the portfolio, the objectives for 1, 4, and 5. So again, we'll go through these in a little greater detail as we move throughout the semester, but this gives you an idea of what's going on. So take a look at those as you move forward. The major specific objectives, we'll talk a lot more about this next week in a little video for that. But if you're a communication arts major, these are the objectives. So you're going to pick 2 of these and find a paper, project, or presentation that matches those and talk about that. If you're communication studies, English, English journalism, journalism public relations, etc., etc., etc. That's going to take care of all those things. And again, you'll be using these as sort of reference materials throughout the semester. Talked about the discussion board. So here's where you put questions about the class. Something doesn't make sense. There might be a date that you don't understand. You're not quite sure what the assignment is. You might be having questions about maybe what paper should I use. I'd be happy to answer all those. I will check the discussion board once every day on weekdays. So if you post something at 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, I'm not going to look at it at 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Might have to wait till Monday to get your answer. So just keep in mind that I'll be checking this every day during the week, and we'll be able to answer your questions. If you've got a personal question about an assignment or something like that, feel free to email me. That's perfectly fine. All right. Here's what another student did with her portfolio. We're going to be using Google Sites, so at the end of the semester you need to have a Gmail or a YouTube or a Google account. Google Sites has changed since these people have done their portfolio. There will be another video explaining the new process. So we'll take a look at that as we get a little closer to creating the portfolio. Hopefully that gives you a brief introduction to the course and what's expected. If you have questions, again, post them on the discussion board. Good luck this semester, and I will talk to you again next week in a little video. Goodbye.